Ma'am, you can start.
Yeah. All right. Good evening, all of you. Are you able to see the screen?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So welcome back, and we have come to the end of the 7 habits discussion, and we will be able to wrap up only after discussing the 7th habit, which is the habit of renewal, which Covey calls it as sharpen the saw. So, as in his own words, he says we must never become too busy sawing, even to take time to sharpen the saw. Now, what does this really convey to us? Post going through, the dependence to independence to interdependence stage, what is the significance of now nurturing and sharpening the saw? In this context, he says how the sharpening the saw is a indication of the daily process of renewal, which all of us need. Because to be able to have this kind of a private victory as well as public victory, for it to sustain, build, nurture, what is it that we are doing daily? Okay, so to be able to build that, create that, sustain these private victory as well as public victory, he talks about this continuous improvement. Okay, the process of continuous improvement through self renewal. And there are 4 dimensions where he talks about this process of renewal, which is pretty simple and commonsensical. But again, I reiterate, common sense is not common practice. So there is these processes of self renewal, which we somehow not do in our daily life because we are busy, driving. They say no, we are too busy driving to even stop for fuel. Okay, so why I take this example of driving is that's true to me. I'm busy driving, not even stopping for fuel. Where he gives the example of sharpening the saw. So when it comes to habit 7, the principle which is core, which doesn't change, is production requires development of production capability. Remember in the principles when we started off this talk, the foundational principles which he says, the principles are the ones which determine the consequences. And we do not have control on the principles. We have only control on our actions. So production, P by PC balance, which he talks about in the foundation principles, he says production requires development, creating, building, nurturing the production capability. And in this case, production capability is all of us. So how do we nurture and then build, create, develop production capability on a sustainable basis? That only gives us the sustained production. So what kind of a paradigm shift I must have to be able to see things differently? So he says, I will increase my effectiveness through personal renewal in all 4 dimensions. And I'll continuously improve, continuous improvement, which we call in Japanese terms, we say kaizen. Okay, so what kind of a paradigm I must possess is I'll have this kind of a renewal process on a daily basis, which is, we find it very difficult because the 4 dimensions are pretty simple, but then not many of us are in that space of renewal. And if you see what will I start doing, I'll constantly develop and renew to create better P by PC balance. Okay, so that I don't, be too busy driving and not even stop for fuel. And I'll set and achieve goals for renewal in all 4 dimensions. That means I have goals to meet on a self-renewal basis, on a daily basis, for each of these 4 dimensions. Do I have those goals for each of the renewal process which I'm going through? So I'm sure there are a lot of us who are doing at least a couple of the dimensions in a very sustainable manner with clear-cut goals. We will see how some people are having a better P by PC balance amongst us. And there are a lot of us who are, struggling to do that kind of a balancing act, especially to continuously improve us. Okay, we are busy driving, but not continuously improving on, the efficiency, effectiveness, mileage, fuel. We don't bother about any of the thing because I'm busy in the activity. What am I accomplishing? I really do not know. So whether we like it or not, the principle which doesn't change is at the center. And this is just an example of, what I've been saying. We are busy driving to stop for fuel. Or as I'm sure you heard about Lincoln's words, give me 6 hours to chop down a tree and I will spend first 4 hours sharpening the axe. Okay, so how many of us really do that across different challenges of our life? How many of us, that means the Lincoln's words only reminds us about Q2, which is quadrant 2. And quadrant 2 is, if you remember, what is quadrant 2? In which habit does it appear? I'm not quizzing you, but is it in public victory or is it in private victory? Quadrant 2 activity, urgent and important. Is it important, or is it urgent, or is it both urgent and important?
Is it both, ma'am?
It is important but not urgent. So what happens is, we because it is important but not urgent, we put off that work of sharpening the saw to a later date, and let's get into the activity first, and we'll start chopping this tree first, because that's the activity and there is a deadline to it. There is an urgent target which is given by the manager. So let me do the sharpening of the axe little later. And that's just an indication of the 4 dimensions, how we put off self-renewal in those 4 dimensions to a later date and busy driving or busy doing our activity. But what is it that we require to nurture ourselves to be able to produce that better? We somehow put that off for a later date. And it's a clear Q2 activity. It's a clear quadrant 2 activity, which is extremely important, but it never tries for, never creates the noise of urgency. A day will come when it creates the noise of urgency, when we just do not care for the importance of it. Just like, filing the tax or, medical emergencies. If we don't take care of ourselves, a day will come when we have to leave all the urgent stuff and just go and see a doctor. So to that extent, how much of the activity traps we are in? That's the reason the 7th habit is only talking about post your private victory, post your public victory. 7th habit will only has to renew it, continuously improve on those private victories and public victories, because these are not victories on an event basis. This is not one-time event that you achieved private victory or you achieved public victory, but it's a cycle. It's a journey. So what is it that is fuel which is continuously required to keep these things on? And that's what, very metaphorically, he speaks about this sharpening the saw. So yeah, we spoke about this, and here the production capability, he's referring to our own cells, and the kind of 4 dimensions which sustains us and increases our capacity, that is production capabilities, is how do we discipline our mind, how do we discipline our body, and how do we discipline our spirit. And the daily private victories, these are not victories over others, but this is the victory over ourselves. And how do we stimulate growth around that private victory so that it helps achieve continuously on the social and emotional dimensions of public victory? Okay, and we achieve these, whether it is private or public, we achieve these victories only through renewal process, which he says it as cultivating and nurturing these kind of renewal process on a daily basis. So what are those 4 dimensions which he is saying that we must continuously look at renewal of ourselves is first physical. So let's say on physical basis, it's pretty simple and self-explanatory. What is it that we want to do on physical front of maintaining and building our physical wellness? Because all said and done, this is completely private. How do we maintain our body and mind in a well-being status? So in the state of well-being, how do we keep ourselves, both mind and body, through proper nutrition or exercise, rest, stress management? Because mind, body, and soul, which is resting in this entity, how do we maintain this entity? Okay, so you have several connections here to our own scriptures, our own literature, and you can call our body as the embodiment of several, the key elements. And how you take care of yourself also takes care of the rest of the ecology. So the others are only a reflection of yourself. So the way you treat yourself makes a lot more impact on the other public victory as well. So the private victory is really in taking care of the kaya, that is the physical body, where he just emphasizes what is it that you want to do differently, either having a right diet, eating right, or a sufficient rest, good relaxation, exercise on a regular basis. This, how many of us don't know this? But do we do it? Uh, that's what we said in the first session, knowing and doing gap. Okay, so everyone knows that the exercise and taking care of our own self is good, but somehow there is a gap. So how do we increase our flexibility? How do we increase our strength? How do we have more, let's say, cardiovascular endurance? What kind of thing I must do? What kind of skills on a physical basis I must start on a regular basis? What kind of diet I must adhere to? What are the positive ways of dealing with my stress and stressors on a daily basis? There are so many deadlines, there are so many submissions I am busy with. What kind of ways in which I can deal with stress? What is the kind of sleep and rest I must have? Okay, sleep and rest or relaxation I must have. We just think about it, but not really adhere to certain regimen, because that's a Q2 activity. It requires planning, preparation, and execution. So what kind of a habits and lifestyle would you contribute to yourself for your own long-term physical health? Now that's something which he says as a very important one towards the first dimension of renewal of your own self. Okay, so good health is wealth is what we say. So the health, both physical and mental health, how will you contribute to your own health? And is what he's highlighting here. And next he says, very related is mental. Now we, to a great extent, at least, we give a lot of importance to physical thing because it's obvious, and we can probably even measure certain of the parameters on ourselves before we go to experts, because body doesn't lie, but we can lie, but body doesn't lie. So a lot of the time physical fitness somehow we try to maintain and manage, perhaps, but mental well-being is something which is more tricky than physical. So if physical imbalance is there, poor body, it tries to build homeostasis on its own also. It struggles to bring the homeostasis. And we also can contribute to bring that homeostasis very consciously, and we can get the feedback also. But mental is something which is a dimension which is very tricky. And mind can grow stronger only when we challenge it. So we say, intellectual discussions, these can challenge our mind, and that can help us to, grow mentally. but what kind of activities are we doing? We are caught up in very mundane activities, tasks, which lacks certain challenges which can stimulate our mind. So mostly we love routine. We love sometimes mundane activities which are mentally dull. So what kind of a things you must keep doing or challenging your mind so that you remain sharp, okay, you don't remain dull. So in what ways would you like to stimulate your mind so that you learn new things and makes us more alert and probably responsive? So how would you respond? What are the triggers where you can mentally contribute and it can stimulate your thought pattern? So either by learning, or you can do it on your own or learning with others. But by continually challenging your mind, you can find yourself better at doing certain things, or better at solving certain problems or meeting certain challenges. But mental renewal activities can include various different types of things. Your imagination can take it, but typically problem solving, the challenges which you might face on a daily basis. So typically, traditionally, what we have been told is, read books, your knowledge will increase. Avid reader, so it will give us a different kind of a stimulant. And I mean, for a student body, it can be, today it's a different medium through which you can get knowledge. But typically we used to have the hardbound volumes. So read books, or digitally or otherwise also. Or would you like to keep a journal to yourself where you play, you have how you have dealt with certain issues and certain problems, how you have solved them or dealt with them? Would you like to keep a journal and start looking at self feedback? Or you can write poetry, you can write, if not poetry, you can write, today people write a lot of blogs. So how would you write, creatively, which can be rewarding and therapeutic for your own self? It need not be therapeutic and rewarding for others, but is your writing helping you to renew yourself? That is more important, not to create a public impact. Because a lot of the time, when we say impact, we are always looking at validation and approval from outside. Is my writing reaching into reaching far? What kind of a impact it is creating? No, if the impact is therapeutic and rewarding for yourself, that's the mental renewal which he is talking about. So what kind of problems have you solved? What kind of challenges have you dealt with the within your own capability for your own self? That is what he is calling it as a renewal. Or even just to have a hobby, you know many a times, after coming to a kind of a work setups, we have forgotten to pursue our hobbies, which gives us a lot of stimulating environment for to challenge ourselves. Hobbies are not typically what they typically see hobby as something unprofessional, or something which you can do at your own pace, which doesn't have, which is only known to you. All of those kind of cliched understanding which people have, that is there, but how is it helping you to renew yourself? So many hobbies can really stimulate the brain. It can help you to relax better, and most important, it is personally fulfilling. And as long as it is personally fulfilling and rewarding, what else do we need to renew ourselves? We don't want anybody's approval whether you are playing your keyboard properly or not, or your drawing or painting is really up to mark or not. These are not, we are not looking for standards and benchmarks to compare our work with. Well, we'll continue to strive for excellence. That is not the agenda for renewal. Similarly, for your writings, similarly for a lot of the time, I keep telling some amount of reading independently. A lot of the time during our childhood days, uh, combined studies. Combined studies is something which students love at certain ages, and it is good, and it gives a lot of because especially post this kind of a pandemic, people are really wanting to look at that kind of a social learning, that kind of interactions, small talk, gatherings, these discussions. All of this contributes a lot for the overall growth. Well, that is true. How much of the reading and studying independently can trigger your stimulate your brain? Those things are very, very important too, because it's ultimately the mental saw which has to sharpen. So while we are always with others, taking help from others, their perspectives and all of that, private victory, there is no there is no second thing to private victory. So it is your mental saw which needs sharpening. So most of the well-known scholars in all fields or all disciplines, uh, they need not. I'm sure you must have noticed that most of the scholars are not having a very formal degrees or great academic connections, but they are scholars. Okay, so because their inquiry is very independent. Okay, inquiry and self. In these kind of journeys, you are largely alone. Okay, so your mental saw has to be sharpened, and in this journey we generally find ourselves alone. So this you need to find, this is your journey. Okay, so how will you make your mental saw sharpen with studying more independently, post your taking others perspective, is something which is very important. Or you know mental well-being can also be through music and other kind of things too, other than your learning education pursuits, um, and other thing. One second. One second. And then he talks about the spiritual dimension. Now, there is some amount of confusion on spiritual or religious. So please do not. A religious thing can also lead to spiritual well-being. So a source of fundamentally spiritual dimension where he highlights is as a source of meaning and purpose. Okay, and that you remember in our begin with the end in mind, your own personal mission statement. Okay, what is your core principle centered living? As we said, as we discussed, for some people it is the family which is at the core of their center. For some people it is money which is at the core of their center. For some others, spouse is at the core of their center. Okay, so whose center is what, and whose core is what, around which their entire life revolves around. If it is other than principles, then it is very difficult to relate to each other. Okay, so how can we keep principles at the center of our living is what spiritual dimension is also talking about. That is, find your key principles which are at core of your being. Okay, which are those principles which are at the core of your being, and that helps you as a source of meaning and purpose, and that he calls it as a spiritual well-being. So which are those activities which can uplift you, inspire you, or even to help you reinvent yourself, discover yourself, and understand your own mission and purpose of life little more closely, whichever route you take. For some it is a religion through which they take this path. For others it need not be. They can be closer to nature and find the core. So what could be some of the ways in which you will sharpen the saw spiritually? So and that also helps you your begin with the end in mind. So if you have had a good public victory, you know your core much better, and you are able to align yourself uh, again and again through your activities and daily living with it. Course correction, if at all there are any discrepancies and deviations, which is very natural, we can always come back, because there is always a core which pulls us in that direction. Okay, so what are those refining mission which you are aligned to, or what will you watch, what will you listen, what will you observe the world of nature as, which will probably help towards spiritual development, or uh, typically in some of the MBA interviews we keep asking, who are your role models? Did you read any biographies? People do not have any role models. How can that be? I mean, there are so many good things which are happening. Why are we not even focusing on that? I am so much engrossed in I, me, myself struggles that I do not see any good outside. Okay, so not only this entire thing inside out, but how the outside in also affects, so that there is a private victory and also public victory. So how do we study great literature? Some, let's say, some, biographies of great people, or appreciate music or art. And in the spiritual domain, we can also say, how do you build integrity so that the discrepancies and incongruencies are lesser? You're aligned to your core, and you're completely integral to your values. Okay, so how will you create that kind of a rich core so that your trading is much smoother? So in the spiritual domain, uh, there are several routes which great people have taken. So you can be free in that direction, to be able to align your activities of life, daily life, into the core. Okay, so you can always recheck, recommit, recommit whenever we are going awry. And the last dimension which he talks about is social or emotional. Now he combines social or emotional because this is entirely your public victory space, which is habit 4, 5, and 6. And here is a zone which is completely, very dynamic space, because there are a lot of others involved in it. At least physical, mental, spiritual, you're on your own, and you're finding, you're inquiring things, you're reading things on your own independently, you're doing a lot of things. But in the social and emotional renewal, what would you like to do differently? Okay, and I would ask you, on each of these dimensions, if I'm sure all of us are doing something in all of these 4 dimensions, but what would you like to do differently in each of these things that will give you greater effectiveness? Okay, like physically you have been doing something or the other, but is it giving you that kind of effectiveness for yourself? Is it completely helping you to renew? Then would you like to revisit that, what kind of a goals I must have in physical, what kind of a goals I must have in mental and spiritual? Okay, and when it comes to social and emotional, as I said, it's just like public victory, it's so tricky out there. So, and it kind of directly challenges us on our proactivity is in habit 1, private victory. Be proactive is the first habit, and the public victory has the power to even challenge your private victory. All through, you will say, I am responsible of my actions. But the moment some kind of a person from outside you challenges you, your proactiveness goes for a toss. You will start getting into, blame game and other kind of things. I didn't mean to say that. He was intending to say this. My manager set the goals. He never listens. All kind of things get very murky the moment there are others in the space, and others will always be there in the space as long as the society is interdependent. And when is society not interdependent? So what kind of a social and emotional renewal would you like to look at? And it gives the greatest challenge to your private victory, especially habit one, which is be proactive. What would you like to do? So he says, would you like to have, the route and fruit, which we have talked about? Okay. So what would you like to, challenge your assumptions in a relationship, in a key relationship, either with the family members or in professional life? What would you like to challenge, your assumptions in a key relationship? How do you think you can continue to do better in a given relationship? The relationship can be personal or relationship can be professional arena. But what would you like to do, or additional things which are different, so that your relationship is much more effective and much more developed than it was previously? So what would you contribute differently? You can look at, by considering your key relationships. Would you be more open to their point of view? Would you listen more, which is habit 5? Would you like to think win-win, so that the parties involved have a mutual benefit, and you will keenly listen to them and not busy with your own dialogues, what to say next? And that will create synergy, which is habit 6. So take any given relationship, personal or professional, what kind of a relationship, nature of relationship I'm having, so that I can deepen it in terms of its quality. And for that, what should I be doing? So Kavi says, why don't you look at challenging your assumptions in a relationship and start putting your habit 4, habit 5, and habit 6. Okay, so that's the social and emotional renewal which he talks about. That is creating the challenges. How will you deepen and improve the quality of relationship, whether personal or professional? Okay. So that's what he says in terms of survival and revival. In some of your key relationships or life, are you surviving, or would you like to revive certain relationships, certain ways of doing, certain ways of living? Okay, does it require a revival, or you're okay just surviving? Okay, so when you survive, what are those feelings and thoughts? When you revive and go through renewal, what is the kind of a feeling and thoughts you would have? And that kind of a thing would only give you to upward a spiral of growth and not downward spiral. Okay, so towards the effectiveness. So he links this revival process, renewal process, this sharpening the saw process, as creating a upward spiral of growth. Yeah, so that's how the the 4 dimensions which he talks about: to live, to love, to learn, and probably to leave a legacy. Okay, I mean, to leave a legacy is too much of an asking for. Not everybody might have an intention of leaving a legacy, but spiritual renewal is all about you connecting back to your core. Okay, your mission. So overall, habit 7 challenge is to sharpen the saw. And how would you go about doing is some of the 4 dimensions which he gave. So commit to 1 hour per day to sharpen your saw. Balance this time between physical, mental, spiritual, and social or emotional dimensions. Okay, so that's all, and that brings us to the end of habit 7, as well as the 7 habits of highly effective people. So now I'm open to questions. I hope you're seeing how these are relating to the entire private victory and public victory, and how we have now moved to the stage of interdependence. And we are also looking at the renewal process to keep sustaining this process and thrive in this life than just survive. So thank you so much. I thank Professor Srinivas and his team, Sundari, Ashwin. We had a good talk. I hope it was meaningful and made sense to those who have attended. I hope I have not put anyone to sleep, because these are common sense, but as Kavi says, uncommon in its practice. So it's important for us to reiterate, reinforce whenever we get a chance, to reiterate the good. Okay, so not that we do not know the good, but to reiterate and reinforce the good so that we fall back on our core. Even if we are going awry, even if we are not on the track, we can always come back on track if we know the track, if we know the direction. So thank you so much. I'm open to questions.